Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the board meeting tonight. Time is 7:03. We're going to call the meeting to roll. Please call the order.
Trustee Sanchez.
Here.
Trustee Reyes-Farmer. Here. Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Lightfoot.
Here.
Trustee Pepper.
Here.
Trustee Brandon.
Here.
Mayor Booker.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, I'm going to give the invocation. All heads bowed. Father God, we thank you for bringing us all together to focus on moving the village of Maywood forward in a positive and progressive direction. May this meeting and may this board work in peace, harmony, and with the goal of truly moving the village of Maywood forward. May we work forward with the residents, the administration, as well as staff to do what truly is what's needed to restore what is needed in the village of Maywood and rebuild what is called the city of eternal light. Amen. Amen. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. 5, I need approval of minutes for village board meeting of Board of Trustees for Tuesday, April 5th, public hearing on Tuesday, April 19th, special board meeting.
So moved.
So moved by Trustee Brandon, second by Trustee Jones. Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Farmer. Aye. Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot.
Aye.
Trustee Pepper.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. 6, oath reports, proclamations, announcements, and appointments. Just an announcement to everyone that this Saturday, May 21st, there will be the State of Maywood meeting where we'll be discussing economic development, infrastructure, and overall where we've been in this first year of the administration and how to move forward. It's 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Maywood Park District. All right. 7, Finance Department, A, monthly report for the month of April 2022 by Director Satchel in the amount of $1,223,982.24. And then discussion 7B concerning the Village of Maywood open invoices for May 15th, 2022 report. And 7C, Village of Maywood warrant list number 200525 through May 11th, 2022 in the amount of $1,837,131.67. Does anyone have any questions for Director Satchel? 8, public comment. For public comment, you are allowed 3 minutes to speak. You need to give your name. You do not have to give your address. Please call the first public comment.
Gloria Clegg.
I'm reading my time to just Joe Wilson.
Joe Wilson.
Is mic on this time?
You gotta press the button and see.
It's a green light. Check, check, check. Right,
Here.
check. Good, good. Good evening, board. President, Mayor, all those elected officials sitting up there. My thing is going to be short, brief, and to the point. It's not directed to the mayor, but it's directed to the village manager. Okay, the questions that we have, and I'm speaking on behalf of the senior citizens and residents here of Maywood, in terms of having a receptionist to answer the phones and give us directions on who we can talk to and what departments we can deal with, okay? Right now, presently, we don't have a receptionist. We want to know, when will we get a receptionist? And how soon? And will there be some type of an intern program where certain residents here in Maywood can probably qualify to become a receptionist in our office? And this is something we need to get from the village manager due to the fact that the village manager is responsible for the day-to-day operations in here with the approval of the trustees and the mayor. Hopefully the trustees and the mayor understand that, okay? And if you all have been studying your Illinois compiled statutes, municipal codes, and our local ordinance, you know that's your responsibility. But it's also the responsibility of the village manager who's doing the day-to-day operations to let us know and keep us informed as to what things are taking place, especially when we have concerns about not having a resident and how things have happened. Certain people have been dismissed, We need to have transparency on those who've been dismissed and how they were dismissed and why they were dismissed. Okay? We're looking at the weather that's changing. It's getting hot. We got certain areas that are, I'll put it this way, they look like dead flies in a gallon of milk. Very unsanitized. Okay, and these are things that we want you to address. Your staff and all, letting us know what's taking place, what your plans are, and we'll deal with that as you report to us. That's basically what I want to put forward, and that's for the village manager and not to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda Featherstone. I can talk about what I might.
The mic is for the people who are online.
Or at least turn it off.
Okay, my name is Linda Featherstone. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My concern is the last meeting that I came to, it was the first from a long time ago. I was just appalled. And I hope and I pray that tonight we act like we know who we are and who we belong to. We are all in this together. We are neighbors. We can pray, but prayer helps. But if you don't know the meaning of love yourself as you love your neighbors as you love yourself, we might as well not have these meetings. Now we know there's a lot of things going on in Maywood. They have been going on for a very long time. This administration cannot fix things that happened 40 years ago, because I've been here for 40. And you have to give everybody a chance. And we have to believe and trust each other as human beings. Love one another. Care about your neighbors. Because what affects me affects all of us. Take care of your corner, and I'll take care of my corner. And believe me, this city will grow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Penny McFadden.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Booker, administration.
Good evening.
I have a question. I'm on 19th and Oak, and I want to know, is it possible to ramp up safety procedures, including speed bumps, cameras, speed limit signs, and pedestrian crossing signs? Since the change to warmer weather, there has been an increase in speeding down 19th and Oak, rolling through stop signs, or ignoring them altogether. The alleys have also become speedways. Summer hasn't officially arrived, and we're already in high gear. Junior high is still in session, but the youth sometimes have to wait several minutes before they cross the street because they're afraid to cross. They have to wait until there's no cars visible. I don't understand this. I have an issue with this, and I know because of, and I will say this for everybody else, because before Easter somebody ran into our front porch. We don't have, we've had every entryway of our home since we've been in this village, and that is my sister for 40 years. The garage, the fences have been knocked down, our back window to our basement, so every area that you can get into our house has been knocked down. And this is an issue because our house is also the third house. A neighbor just said today that there have been 3 houses on the corner of 19th and Oak that have been hit. This is an issue. It's an issue because I can't walk my little nephew for our weekly constitutional down 19th because I'm afraid. Our mother is a gardener. We do not want her in front of the house because God forbid somebody do this again, it's going to be on. And may God have mercy on my soul. We want the signs. And I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. The street signs are important. We want the pedestrian crossing signs. And Mayor Booker, I know this has nothing to do with you, but I'm not going to wait as long as we had to wait last year, year before last, when the street light went off in July, and it took a whole nother season to get it. We're not going to do that anymore. Because when I have to stand and wait for a bus, or other people have to stand and wait for a bus, it gets very dark come fall, and it's dangerous. So, my thing is, do your job. Do your jobs that you were elected for, because you know what, you were put in office, and God darn it, I can raise hell all by myself, but I will sign petitions to get you out if you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. And it's not directed toward this administration per se, but you know what? According to the word that I know, it's time to do a new thing. The old stuff has passed away.
Right.
Let's get it together. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Chris Anthony Sharp.
Good evening. I'm Chris Anthony Sharp, and I'm here tonight to talk about a fire truck. A fire truck that was damaged in-house November the 21st of the 2021. I want to know how much damage was done to this truck and to the building. And I also would like to know the person that did this, how were they reprimanded? Was it a month? Was it 2 days? Was it 3 days? I would like to know this because this comes out of our pocket. Because we have to fix this truck. So I'm asking my senior savvies, we're coming. And as they say, and hell's coming with us. Because we're coming for you. You're going to either give us some answers or get up off the seats. That's all I have to say to you.
Thank you.
All right. Loretta Robinson.
Good evening to the mayor, village manager, members of the board.
Good evening.
We can't hear you, Loretta.
My name's Loretta Robinson. I have some reasonable complaints. The first thing I want to address is there still a MAPS program for the residents? As I had spoken a couple meetings before, I have been on the listen for a while. I'm back now. I'd like to know if there is a MAPS meeting, where is it, and under what name does it apply by at this time? The next thing I want to address, in the absence of our village manager a couple meetings ago, I'm still concerned about the 3 houses on the block where my granddaughter lives that have been designated more times than not as ready for demolition. They are still there. They're falling down. The contractors have wrapped one in the insulation that's required. But what I want the village manager to do, and code enforcement as well, I want you to stop allowing, and I mean allowing, these contractors to come in and start work and never get through.
All right.
They are, the wrap on the houses are flying in the breeze, and of course we all know how windy it's been. Part of the stuff is coming off. It's no longer protecting the raggedy part of the house that's under the raggedness. And when will contractors actually work on the houses? When will they be demolished? They've been designated as not being repairable. So 3 in the 400 block on 16th Avenue, 3 houses on the same side of the street, it's almost one after the other, that's in poor condition, demolition condition. Please address these houses. Address the houses that are wrapped and not having any construction done on them. I have no idea what happens when they get the permits, but they're not following through on it. And we're not following through on it because we're not demanding that they continue the work after they get the permits to start the work. So let's get on top of that. Our village looks a mess. Some of the houses, front yards are a mess.
3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. And it's just unreasonable that anybody would want to live in this village with all the disarray that there is.
That's right.
Can we just, is
3 minutes.
it time?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry, but let's do our job. And we must, always here.
Thank you.
Lucille Redmond.
Lucille Redmond. Much of what I wanted to say has already been talked about. I am also concerned about on November 29th, one of our fire trucks was involved in an accident causing extensive damage to engine number 506 and station number 2. In my opinion, the reckless and careless driving of this fireman causes concern to me, and it should cause concern to you. I put in a FOIA requesting the financial cost of the accident to the taxpayers of this village. The response from 40 West Madison was, quote, "The village of Maywood has no records responsive to your request." I know that's a lie, because I've been watching Chief Brown for years. He's a very professional person, and I'm almost sure that he already turned in papers telling about the damage that was done to the fire engine and to the fire building. I watched him for years, asking for things to be fixed in the fire department. It's just that professional. There have been times when we didn't even have a fire truck to put out a fire. There's been times when we didn't have an ambulance for our safety. But because of these burnout, all of these things were put in place. And for a fireman to nonchalantly say that the equipment was broke already, well, didn't you know that? Don't you care about that? No, he does not care because he does not have to pay for it. But there should be some repercussions behind that. And you as board members need to look into that and investigate that and make the punishment match the crime. Okay? Mayor Booker, I personally gave you a documented proof that the finance director, Ms. Lanya Sideshow, was allowing thousands of dollars in water bill adjustments to big businesses in this community. Don't look puzzled, but you know it's true. What did you do about that? I know you ran to Ms. Satcher and told her that I had an in for her. I have no problem expressing myself at any time to anybody. Once again, Mayor Booker, you lied. Mayor Booker, you signed a contract. You signed a contract for this village manager to have a car, and then you had to discuss it last meeting. You didn't have a contract to get your car, but you finagled around and got that car. You and Trustee Peppers. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, you traded in the Chief Tally for the car. He wanted to get rid of the Chief Tally, and you wanted the car. That's the way I see it. Don't even get it twisted. I have not gotten over the fact that this village manager paid the taxpayers locked out of 40 West Madison in inclement weather, while the other employees sat in warm offices. I'm not going to get over that too.
3 minutes.
Oh, that was out now. One more thing. If there's a handicap parking space out there, it should be marked as such. You don't just hold off and wait. I mean, all of that rigmarole, and she ain't even here.
That's right.
You know what I'm talking about. You used to be talking about that too. All of that, he put that big old sign out there for her. She ain't even here. And plus, it's already two designated parking spaces out there. How many handicap people you got coming up in here?
Ms. Redmond,
Yes.
we have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm aware of that.
Thank you.
That completes public comments.
All right. Joe, in regards to dead flies in a gallon of milk, we spoke about that at the committee as a whole, where you saw a presentation of things that need to be addressed. So you saw a presentation from the village manager that showcased some things that have been addressed. So we look forward to giving you more updates in regards to things that are getting addressed. From the reception standpoint, I'll leave that to the village manager. Ms. Featherstone, I couldn't agree with you more. Ms. McFadden, specifically for 19th and O, there has been a lot of conversation in regards to public safety. There has been the public safety and police accountability that provided a list a couple of months ago to our engineering firm to focus on signs, of stop signs, for pedestrian crossing signs, flash speeding signs, one-way signs, do not enter signs. To purchase those, we've talked about them. Addresses of where they should go have been assigned. A lot of them pretty much are on the Oak Street route to be addressed, and speed bumps as well was on the list as well. So the conversation was permanent speed bumps or speed bumps that can be removed during the winter season. So that is something that is being looked into. So we'll look forward to updates as they come. But those streets and areas have already been assigned for the different signs that are missing or that should have been there that aren't there. Again, I've announced the State of Maywood meeting where we'll talk a lot about infrastructure and public safety items. Also, you have Police Chief Willis. He'll be presenting the summer plan at the next committee as a whole. So that's June 7th. So he'll be presenting that as a presentation to the board and to the community. Ms. Chrysanthemy Sharp, I will leave it to the village manager to get with you in regards to the fire truck situation. Ms. Robinson, the MAPS meeting for residents is the community policing meeting that happens every 4th Monday. And that's at the Lightfoot Recreation Center on the corner of 9th and Madison. And it's at 7 o'clock. So the next meeting is May 23rd. And then in regards to the demolition and active list, look forward to the village manager and the director of public and building and code getting us updates in regards to that. Ms. Redmond, I look forward to the village manager getting with you in regards to engine 506 and the accident and no FOIA records. I don't really have a comment in regards to the water bill issue. Our water bills currently are being paid. For those that aren't being paid, we're addressing them. So when you talk about signed contract based on finances, the contract for the village manager was signed that stipulates based on our current finances. So right now she currently receives a stipend based on our current finances. So when you say she currently receives a stipend for a vehicle, she does, and I did sign off on that. If you saw the last board meeting, my commentary was, if we're removing people from departments and shutting departments down because of finances, we might not be at a time to buy a car right now. That was exactly what I said. So, and then just for the record, Chief Talley resigned. So it wasn't a swap, it wasn't a trade. Chief Talley resigned. And that completes my comments for public comment. All right. 9, Village President Report. 9A, appointment of Stephen Culps as Village Treasurer. So I need to
So, I apologize, Mayor, for
That's our attorney.
if I can come in.
Yes, Attorney Fraser.
This question was asked by the village manager, and this is actually an appointment for the village manager. If you look at Article 5, it's, you guys became a village manager statutory form of government by referendum. If you want to change that, of course, it has to be done the same way. But this is actually the village manager's appointment, and with that appointment, it doesn't need board approval. So it technically is something that she could have done yesterday and appointed some individual. And because it doesn't need board approval, it can definitely, I always recommend that village managers, under village management form of government, that they advise the boards and tell them, but just procedurally, I have to tell you what I know, and that's that this is a village manager's appointment. Additionally, since we're talking about that, I believe there's also something with respect to the engineer.
That's under the manager's report.
But with engineers, if you're retaining an engineer, a current engineer, you just want to continue their services, then that requires the board approval.
We can't hear. Can you
I'm
say
sorry.
that again?
If you are retaining an engineer, so you have an engineer, you want to continue your relationship with that engineer, then that does require the board approval. If you are looking to engage services of a completely new engineer, I'm almost certain that that is controlled by the Local Government Services Act, and I'd have to. It's the Local Government Professional Services Act, and with that, you have to follow the guidelines that are provided in that, which if I'm not mistaken, and I don't know it by heart, and I can definitely make sure I let you know that the next time, but that requires like 3 bids or 3 quotes that you get. So I'm just telling you what, I know to be the case as far as the village manager is the one that appoints the treasurer with respect to the engineer. I don't know who this engineer is, so I don't know if it's a continuing relationship or if it is a completely new engineer.
Same firm.
Yeah, so if it's the same firm, then that's appropriate. It's something that does require the board approval. But with respect to the treasurer, that is a village manager's appointment. And just so you know, when we received files from your former counsel's office, I actually remember seeing something from 2013 where I think he actually had outlined the exact same thing that I'm saying, and he confirmed what I know to be the case, is that village managers, those treasurer appointments are actually for the village manager.
Okay, so thank you for that, Attorney Frazier. I'm just looking at our American Legal Publishing, and it says Ordinance 30.03, appointment. The president at the regular first meeting of the month of May of each year shall appoint by and with advice and consent of the Board of Trustees some competent citizen of the village treasurer for ensuring financial for the fiscal year. So I'm trying to understand, what are you reading that's not in our village code?
Article 5, because your local ordinance can't usurp the Article 5, which is statutory. That cannot govern, or that can't take precedent over that. That's Article 5. So if you look up Article 5, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 65 ILCS 5/ something 1.1, I believe it is. It tells you specifically what because you are a statutory manager form of government, you can't have a local ordinance that's saying something in conflict with that. And if I'm not mistaken, even your prior village attorney said in his memo that your local ordinance is wrong and needs to be corrected. That is something that we should absolutely should do, but you can't look at that local ordinance and say that, well, this is saying that, so I have the right to disregard the manager form of government. That's not allowed. That needs to be changed.
So I would say, for me, it literally is an ordinance that got voted in 1997. So it's not an ordinance that I put into place. If there is something that goes against the Article 5 form of government, I hear what you're saying. It would be great to see the documentation. It would be great to see where the ordinance code is. I'm not arguing it, but if it actually exists, as an attorney, like, can we get it? Because I'm literally just going by what's in our ordinance. So if we're not going by the ordinance and we're going by something within Article 5, can we point out where in Article 5 it is? I mean, ultimately, I don't have one way or another. Steve does a great job, so I'm not trying to appoint a new treasurer, but I'm trying to see if I hear what you're saying, but if we can't point to the actual code of Article 5 or section of the Article 5 that goes against what we're saying, can we just, I guess, Steve continue on as the current treasurer, and then we bring back the Article 5 that you're referring to at the committee as a whole, and then if we need to amend the ordinance and fix the ordinance, then we can vote to amend it and fix it at the CAL, and then actually vote to fix it. since it's currently on file. So like if we could have that article, we don't need to make any motions tonight, but if we can get the Article 5 included in the committee as a whole meeting, so that then we could actually make, if we legally need to make the amendment to fix this, then we could do that in the June meeting, once we get it presented to us at the council.
With the ordinance, that's a separate issue, like, your legal counsel in 2013 said that ordinance was wrong, so I don't understand why it wasn't done then, but nonetheless, we can change that. What I'm saying to you, that has been that way for a very long time, unfortunately, so we can change it. That is a separate issue from you saying, can someone continue? I'm not going to tell you you should do something contrary to what the statute says. I know that the village manager has that authority to appoint the treasurer, so I'm not going to advise you to anything that's contrary to that.
I'm really just asking for the paperwork. That's all I'm asking.
Paperwork is the statute.
Where in this, I don't.
If you're asking me to pull up a statute
That's
right
what I'm
now,
asking.
that's
Yeah,
not
so
something I'm able to do.
So that's why I asked, instead of having, it's in our ordinance that the board approves it. You are saying that there's a different statute. So with it being a different statute, that should have been a part of the board packet or a memo sent. So if we're going off of I'm not going off of a memo, I want to see the Article 5 statute. So if we have the Article 5 statute and the board understands and we have it, that's all I'm asking for.
I can show you that, but that's not going to change my legal advice that she does not have, any village manager does not have to ask for the approval of the board or make a motion. It does not even have to appear in the motion. So if she leaves this meeting tonight and she determines that tomorrow she's appointing a treasurer, that's within the realm of her authority to do as a statutory manager form of government.
Right.
So if you would like me to bring back an Article 5 at the
That's all
next
I'm
meeting, I
asking
will
for.
do it,
Yes.
but understand that's not going to likely change what will happen in the interim, which is she has the right to make the appointment, and I'm sure she will likely make it, and there's nothing that really can be done about it, but nonetheless, if you want me to bring a copy of Article 5, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying, like, we don't need to make a vote about it tonight, but I would like to see the Article 5 so we can discuss it. Because if it is something in the ordinance that needs to get updated or changed, we need to update it and change, but I don't have any document to change it. That's all I'm asking for.
No, that's
All right, so 10, Village Manager's Report, 10A, Appointment of Village Engineer, Hancock Engineering. Just need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Trustee Brandon, second by Trustee Lightford. Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Plummer.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot.
Aye.
Trustee Pepper.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, 10B, reporting request for approval from John West, Dock Director, regarding the estimate of gray bar electric purchase of 2 King aluminum pole set replacements. Y'all have a memo and a quote. I just need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
So motion to approve by Trustee Sanchez, second by Trustee Lightford. Are there any questions?
Mayor.
Trustee Jones.
Village Manager.
If you get actually to have them come up if you all have any questions on this form.
Does anybody have any questions for the director? All right. Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Plummer.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot.
Aye.
Trustee Pepper.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. 10C, ARPA survey announcement. Village Manager Wells Armstrong.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a quick little PowerPoint. It's 5 slides. I asked Margaret to pull up. How many of you in the room have taken the ARPA survey as a resident or a business owner? By a show of hands, please.
I haven't seen it.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, just this 5 slides. Oh, I'll grab it. So is everybody familiar with ARPA?
No.
American Rescue Plan Act. This is the federal legislation that was passed in Congress to address the pandemic. So communities all over the country have been struggling financially, and this is money that has been allocated to municipalities throughout the United States to help with recovery from the pandemic. So the Village of Maywood received $3.15+ million. We have until December of 2024 to spend it. And in order for us to be eligible to receive the funding, we've already received the first allotment, which was half of that, so about 1.6 million. In order for us to be eligible for the funding, to be able to spend the money, we have to get engagement from the community. And that's where you all come in, and we need your help. So Mayor Perkins had been at several meetings asking about the survey. The board was gracious enough to partner with a company called POCO. And what they do is they collect data and they analyze data. They sent out 2 postcards to 2,000 residents in the Village of Maywood. So we know everybody didn't get one because there's about 24,000. 2,000 residents, all the business owners should have received a postcard. They sent out 2. And what we're asking is that you complete that survey, because we're going to collect that data and it's going to give us information to guide the board in terms of what the community is saying that we need to, allocate and prioritize with this money. So, Marvin, go back, please. That's what I wanted you to see. So if you have not received the survey, if you are a resident, the link is there on the left side. And a business owner, and some of you are residents and business owners, so you can fill it out twice because it has, different perspectives. But I'm asking that you all please fill this out. We want to get as much feedback as possible. Anyone 18 years of age and older can fill out the survey. And we need to get cross-section of this community to hear what the needs are and what the priorities should be. This is going to help the board be able to make decisions about how this money is allocated, and then that directs the staff of what we need to be working on for the upcoming year. So if you have not completed it, I ask that you please do so. It is also available in Spanish, and I do have some hard copies made, and we'll make those available by the next meeting as well. We'll have some here. But if you fill it out hard copy, you got to give it back to us because it has to be entered into the system. Thank you, Marvin.
All right, thank you.
Manager?
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Just a couple things. One, did you mention what our goals are? I know you mentioned where we are now, where we would like to be. I just wanted so people know what we're trying to get to. And then also, Trustee Brandon, I know we talked about this at your committee. Just some rough ideas. We do plan on being out to the community and spreading this information. We're still ironing it out, but I just thought it might be a good opportunity to just share this a little bit more about what we're trying to get to, and then some ideas on how we're going to engage the community further.
Thank you, Trustee Jones. I think when I checked last week, we had about 100 residents that have responded and about 20 business owners. So I know Maywood can show up and do better than that, and we need to. Because we want to show that, that we really are taking this seriously, and that, we're going to put this money to good use. I think Trustee Jones asked me a number last week, and I said I would love to get 2,000, responses back. That's a big number, I know, but I would like for us to have at least several hundred responses. We have the people here. We know there's people in this community that care about what's happening, but we need to hear from you so we can make sure that we're prioritizing how this money is spent. And then I was speaking with trustees on the engagement committee, and also Director Feliciano in community development. We might be knocking on doors. We might be out there, canvassing, and we just want to get the feedback. We talked about showing up at some of the events in the community, setting up a table, having some iPads out where we can just have people do it right there on the iPad, and having some hard copies. We just want to make sure we're doing everything we can to get as many responses back as we can. So I'll be looking forward to hearing from the committee in terms of some of the ideas you have. Please let the staff know so that we can support the effort and get these numbers. Thank you.
All right, Trustee Brandon.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the conversation. This was on our agenda for our community engagement committee, and we did have some conversation about this. I've been in communications with the manager in regards to making sure that we get full participation from the residents of the Village of Maywood. It's really about maximizing this moment, and this is the residents' time to get involved in shaping how we utilize these funds to really improve the community and help Maywood recover. And so one of the important things about attending these conferences, Mayor Eric Adams of New York talked about several different areas. Not only the physical infrastructure and the roads and streets that we drive down every day, but also how we should be investing in our residents as well. And so in doing things is going to create a long-term impact versus a short-term impact. And so our committee is committed to making sure that we do what we can. So we've talked about extending the deadline, which I believe the deadline originally was May the 30th. And so we talked about extending that, which is possible, and hosting some signature events from the committee perspective to get more engagement from the residents. So we are looking at several events that we're looking at hosting to make sure that the residents are involved and making sure that we set up the technologies that are needed so you can fill out the application on the spot. And so we're looking forward to the citizens' participation, your assistance in helping us spread the word. I know there's been some movement on social media as well. So let's continue to put out the word about the need to fill out the application so you guys can be a part of shaping how we utilize these funds to help Maywood recover from the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just one thing to add in regards to signature community events. On May 23rd, you guys know that the public safety meeting is there, so it might be a good time to have a tablet there. Wednesday, May 25th, you have PASO that meets with the Hispanic community at the Lightford Center, so that would be a great time to engage them there. On Thursday, the 26th, you have the Community Volunteer Academy, so it would be a great time to get them to take the survey there. So all of this is in the newsletter, and it's also on the community calendar that's been mailed out. But if we're extending it, that's great, because in the month of June, there are probably about 20 different community activities on the calendar that could be engaged. So there's definitely opportunity to get out there and engage with the residents. This community calendar is been on the board packet multiple times, but I'll send it out again just in case. But it's definitely more than enough opportunities, instead of creating signature events, to join in on events that are already scheduled for the month of June. All right. 11, Village Attorney Report. Nothing. 12, omnibus agenda items. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Trustee Jones. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Brandon. Please read the omnibus agenda items.
12A, motion to approve the monthly financial report for April 2022. 12B, motion to approve ordinance designating Fred Hampton House, 804 South 17th Avenue, a historic landmark. C, motion to approve resolution on the sale of real property commonly known as 622 South 12th Avenue, Maywood, Illinois, PIN 15-10-424-033 to Lakita Ware pursuant to the details as outlined in the adjacent land acquisition program. 12B, motion to approve resolution on agreement of engineering services for 2022 water main project. E, motion to approve resolution on agreement of engineering services for 2022 roadway improvements.
Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes-Plummer.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot.
Aye.
Trustee Peppers.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
Motion carried.
13, new business, none. 14, old business. 14A, consideration of approval on the purchase of village vehicle for village manager use. So open that up for discussion. Motion
Second.
to approve by Trustee Brandon, second by Trustee Jones. Open for discussion. One thing I'll say is, again, she currently receives a stipend for her vehicle of $500 a month, because the $300 on top of the $200 that we amended in the contract for it to be. In the contract, it does say, subject to budgetary constraints as determined by the village board. So again, we literally just dissolved the department. We got rid of Maywood residents and Proviso Township residents who worked here in the village of Maywood, and it was said because of budget. That literally, you most certainly did say that. But regardless, I really don't want to argue. I just want to make my statement. At the end of the day, to think about how much mileage is used for day-to-day operations and facilities management of the village of Maywood versus the nearly 12,000 miles a year that it would take simply to drive to work and home, and the $4,500 worth of gas a year it would take to simply drive to work and home. That is not Village of Maywood business. I'm saying because of budgetary constraints, because we have a lot of other things that we could do with the budget. She currently has a stipend. So she has a stipend to get her to do Village of Maywood business. So she gets a vehicle stipend. My thought process is to stay within the stipend as it currently is, because again, if we're going to actually go into the purchasing of a vehicle, and we're going to update the contract, I would like to see where we say that the vehicle needs to be at Village Hall and not be used for driving back and forth to home, but actually conducting the business of the Village of Maywood. That's my only thought, and that's all I'll say about this. Trustee Reyes-Plummer?
I have, I guess, a recommendation. I'd like to, since there is an investigation currently right now, if we can table this matter until after pending investigation.
Well, you have the motion on the floor.
So there's a motion on the floor. We would have to vote up or down on the motion. Then if the motion fails, then you would make the motion to table interruption. Trustee Brandon?
What's wrong with that here?
So a few things. So we gotta be very careful when we use just certain language, especially when we're talking about this whole vehicle situation. So if anybody should have a vehicle in the Village of Maywood, it should be the village manager. It's part of the contract. It's a part of in the budget as well for her to have a vehicle. The previous village managers, every single last one of them, all had a vehicle which allowed for them to do their job as the person who operated, who's in charge of the day-to-day operations for the village. Now, and Mayor, you just laid out a litany of different reasons. This board could say the same thing for them, the $50,000 vehicle that this board, or members of this board approved just last year. When we didn't know, what the pandemic or how we were going to navigate through this pandemic, but we were going out buying nice SUVs. And so we have to be very, very careful and cautious of how we set these type of things up and what we're doing here, because if anybody should have a vehicle, like I just stated earlier, it should be the village manager. And
But
this
they
has
lived
nothing.
in Maywood.
It's point of order. Let's not do this.
This has nothing to do with the investigation. It is separate from that. It is all to do with what's a part of her contract as a village manager, and what's in the budget. So it's been budgeted, check. It's part of her contract, check. Any other reason for this board? There's no other reason why this board should deny the village manager for receiving a call. And if anything, what this board should have did last year, which was when we were talking about buying a $50,000 car, we could have split the salary up and gave the manager half of the salary and you half of the salary. But members of this board thought it was in the financial best interest of the village to buy a $50,000 car, for a part-time role. So we have to be very careful again of what we're trying to set up here, because it makes no sense whatsoever to give a man part-time a $50,000 car and to have a village manager who operates the day-to-day operations of this town no car at all. It makes absolutely no sense, and it's unfair, and it's just not right.
And it's also important that the
Wait,
village
wait,
manager.
Mayor, can you let the chief
Trustee
know?
Jones, you really talking right now?
I'm saying, but this is enough. Like, there's
Right, but
there's
you
too
be
many
acknowledging it right now, so I don't.
No, I understand that, but
Like, I literally jumped in at the same time you did.
all right, well,
Okay.
all right.
All right. So, everyone, this is board conversation.
Right,
Can we just let the board have this conversation?
right.
Thank you. Trustee Brandon, thank you for your comments. Mayor, Trustee Sanchez.
I have a couple of questions. The old village manager's car is inoperable.
It's at Village Hall.
Is it inoperable? Does it not work?
It works.
So if that car works, why aren't we using it?
So community development is currently using that car.
So my next question is, the stipend that she currently gets, the village manager currently gets, that would be removed, or would that also be included?
No, that would get removed if the car was to be purchased. So it's in place of the car being purchased.
And then, so I agree with both of my trustees. If and after the what is it called, if and after the investigation and when it's over, it appeases the board to vote for a new vehicle, would that be sustainable with the board?
That would be a vote and a conversation pending the investigation. Trustee Brandon, one more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I continue to hear this investigation work. It has absolutely nothing to do with the investigation. It was in her contract when she started the job, right? That she was due a car. But she decided to drive her own car, and now she's requesting to just simply swap out what she's doing. She won't get what she's getting as far as the travel situation. The stipend for the car, she will get the car. So it's just really her swapping out what she has in place already, which is a stipend, which is allowing her to drive her own car to get back and forth and to be able to do her job as a village manager. I just see this as, just really, a continuance of the pettiness that's taking place across this village.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It has nothing.
Can we please? Thank you.
Let him finish.
And again, I would caution this board in this decision-making process, and how it votes this evening is going to be very telling of what we're doing up here as a board. So, again, I would caution the board to make the right decision and to be fair and practical in your decision-making process.
All right, thank you, Trustee Brandon. Only thing I will say is, again, it is certainly not the same equivalent cost of a stipend to purchase a vehicle, to take care of the mileage and the maintenance of a vehicle, to take care of the gas of the vehicle and the insurance of the vehicle. When you think about a car that's going to spend more time in Bolingbrook than it would the village of Maywood, when you think about the mileage would be more mileage for personal back and forth to work use versus operating as the village manager for the village of Maywood, you cannot compare the two. But that's all I'll say in regards to that.
Mayor.
Trustee Jones.
Just real quick, because to me it just seems like something we've already voted on this. Like, to me it's silly that really it's funny because it's like you're using our talking points against us when we originally brought this up about the issue, and now so it's almost like it's hard for me to go back. It's like you're just using our talking points from back then against us. Like, oh, well, she lives so far away in this 20-mile situation. You pushed this. Like, I just want to remind, this wasn't us. You pushed this, and now we're basically just holding on to the agreement that we agreed to a long time ago. So to me, this just shows our leadership. Yeah, I mean, we already talked about this at the beginning. So for us to revisit it for those same reasons just shows that either you didn't do your due diligence at the beginning, or now it's, oh, I want to be petty. But I think if we want to save money, I think if we want to save money, please control this. I mean, please. But there's plenty of ways to save money in terms of vehicles around here that we can entertain. So, we can definitely entertain, especially for some of our part-time roles. So, if we want to save money, talk about vehicles, let's talk about it. But ultimately, and this is something I didn't even agree to, but we have a contract. So, have some accountability, have some, just stick to our word. At the end of the day, this is what we said we were going to do. The stipend was temporary until we got to the point of getting the car. So, I didn't want to say this, but I didn't want to harp on this, but it just seemed like it was just getting ridiculous because, really, this is just a technicality. We've already agreed to this.
Is that all, Trustee Jones?
That's it.
Again, I would say the contract does say subject to budgetary constraints as determined by the village board. We're having more conversation about a car than we had people actually being fired. We're having more conversation about a car than actually having phone calls answered at the village hall. So that's all I'll say in regards to that. The village manager would like to say something, and then we're really going to call the roll.
Okay. So, I want to first of all say that to sit here and say that people were fired so cars could be purchased is inaccurate. It is a false narrative. That did not happen. The receptionist's primary position was to handle the scheduling for the PACE bus. The village lost the PACE bus during the COVID pandemic. We had an employee that went out on leave. That employee never came back. PACE took the bus from the village. That was their primary role. Right now we have a community engagement manager, extension 6366. That's Mrs. Banks. She is the community engagement manager. You can call her extension. If she doesn't pick up, it will ring in my office to my executive assistant's desk. And if she doesn't pick up, then you will get a prompt to tell you if you want to talk to Cole, press 1 or whatever. You have to follow those prompts. We are working on the phone system at this time with Comcast because we need to update the phone system. It has been a problem for a number of years, and that is something that I'm working on. And so to say that people were let go, it's very dangerous. I worked for the Department of Employment Security for 5 years, and when you imply that someone was fired, that indicates misconduct. That's a difference than being laid off or your job is eliminated. You get unemployment when your job is eliminated, when there's a lack of work. When there's misconduct, you may not get unemployment. So to sit here and have people coming in here saying that people were fired, it's very irresponsible because that's not what happened. Those positions were eliminated.
So it was downsized?
Called
downsized?
Moving on.
Let's go.
That's what it's called.
Village managers, the village of Maywood has a residency requirement. It is a 15-mile radius. I was asked when I presented before this board, are you moving into Maywood? I said, no, I am not. I have a husband. We both work and commute to work. We wanted somewhere halfway. So we chose our residence based on the ordinance that in the map that was provided to me, we live within that map. So I complied. I had a year to move. I moved in 4 months. I complied. In my contract as a village manager, like all village managers, they get a vehicle. I did not take the vehicle because I was driving at the beginning over 60 miles one way back to Kankakee, and I didn't think it was the right thing to do to put the mileage on the car. With that being said, I had a $200 stipend, which does not cover insurance. It does not cover gas, especially now with gas being $5 a gallon. And it doesn't cover maintenance on the vehicle. They increased the stipend to $500. The stipend is taxed. So I'm not even getting a $500 stipend because that's taxed. My contract states that while I reside outside the 15-mile radius of the corporate boundaries, radius of the village corporate boundaries, the village agrees to provide CWA need with a monthly commuter benefit allowance to assist with daily costs. While residing within the 15-mile residency radius, CWA may use the village-provided automobile A to commute to and from her residence and to the village each day. And B, for limited personal use and travel within the metropolitan Chicago area, example, 25 miles from Village Hall. If personal use of the vehicle is necessary for some reason, CWA agrees to document any personal usage of the vehicle, provide such documentation to the village, and I'm liable for the taxes to the IRS. And I'm familiar with that because I was a mayor before in Kankakee. So this is in my contract. I'm not asking for anything. I did not ask for a $50,000 car. I downsized to a mid-sized car that would accommodate me transporting things and a few people. We all go to meetings together. And so I just want to be clear also that there were other village managers that did not live in Maywood. They followed and complied with the residency boundary just like I'm doing. And they were not subjected to this new standard that is being proposed by this mayor. So I'm just asking for fair treatment. This has nothing to do with an investigation whatsoever. In fact, I spoke with the investigator last week and she thought this was ridiculous as well, this issue about the car.
Exactly.
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Okay, roll call for the purchase of a vehicle for the manager's use. Trustee Sanchez.
I agree that she deserves a car because it's in the contract, but I also agree with Trustee Plummer with this investigation. I'll be the first one to vote yes after this investigation is over. So I'm going to say.
So wait, that's not the vote. The vote, so you can't say yes pending. You have to vote this down, then do a new motion.
Then, no.
Trustee Reyes Plummer.
Stay.
What did
She
you
can,
say?
this wasn't her motion, but she has a completely different motion, so she can abstain from this.
But if you want to make the other motion, you make that.
Sure, you vote for the other, if this one.
Gotcha.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot.
No.
Trustee Pepper.
Aye.
Trustee Brandon.
Aye.
Mayor Booker.
No.
Good evening, three.
Motion failed for lack of majority. Do we have a different motion?
Yep.
Motion to table.
So you need to, yeah, one of those.
Motion to table pending the investigation. Is that the actual motion?
Yes.
The appropriate motion I think is just a motion to table the consideration and approval of the purchase of a vehicle for the village manager's use. Because,
Because then we got to vote to bring it back in
well,
the motion.
you, anytime you table, you're gonna have to go to
Yeah.
it back, but I just think that makes, you just table it, so if you decide to bring it back.
Motion to table.
Can she bring this back after the investigation?
Yeah, but we have to vote to bring it back.
No, but can she say it in this motion now? So
Well,
that,
that's the table. The table regardless, we have to vote to bring it back. So if we're just tabling it, we will table it, and then we'll have to vote to bring it back. So there's a motion for a table. Is there a second?
second.
Motion by trustee Reyes Plummer, second by trustee Sanchez. Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Trustee Reyes Plummer.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
No.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Pepper.
No.
Trustee Brandon.
No.
Mayor Booker.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
14B, Public Works Director John West requests for approval to purchase replacement light poles. Well, I'm sorry, we did that. That was in the previous motion, so I'm not sure why it's in old business. We did this already. So 15, Board of Trustee comments, information, none. 16 for information only, none. Closed meeting session, none. 18, I need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by trustee Brandon, second by trustee Reyes Plummer. Are there any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Reyes Palmer.
Aye.
Trustee Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Lightfoot. Trustee Peppers. Trustee Brandon. Mayor Booker. Mayor Booker. Motion carried. The time is 8:08.